Now on Nights, Car Advice with Trent Nicolich. Thanks to caradvice.com. Every new car, every last detail.
Well, what a treat we have for you tonight. Not only does Trent Nicolich make his grand return to the Friday Nights program, but we're also going to look at a car that he's reviewed. This is unheard of, Trent.
Yeah, there's a first time for everything, guys, so let's make it tonight. How about that?
Usually you just fluff your way through someone else's review. They do all the work and you take all the glory.
Correct, yeah. If I could get them to mimic my voice well enough, I'd just get them to do this as well.
Well, that's what happened when you hit upper management at Car Advice. You get your minions to write it for you. It's probably ghost written though, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. I've never written a word since I started there over 4 years ago.
And you know, since Trent has taken the time to review a car, that it's going to be a good car, isn't it, Julian? It is. And it is the 2018 Maserati. How do you say this? The Levante, is it?
No, it's Levante is the proper Italian pronunciation.
Yes.
Australians have a propensity to say Levante, but it's actually Levante.
Okay.
Well, tell us a bit about it.
Well, this is a high-performance SUV, and I've really got to make a confession from the outset. I have a real distaste for sports car manufacturers building SUVs. I don't like it. However, we've all been forced to accept that without the Porsche Cayenne and to a lesser extent the Macan, there wouldn't be a Porsche 911. Basically, these SUVs and people's voracious appetite for them is keeping these car companies afloat. So now you've got Lamborghini have come on board with an SUV as well. Ferrari have finally admitted that they're looking at one. Alfa Romeo are building them. And now this Maserati Levante. So the original one that we test drove a while back was the diesel, and it was universally criticised for not really feeling or appearing to be much of a Maserati. I mean, a diesel engine doesn't really satisfy anybody that's into sports cars, but this new one with the twin-turbo V6 petrol engine is a whole lot more like what we expect from a Maserati.
I just wonder with these manufacturers, because it seems so unheard of that Lamborghini or Ferrari in particular would ever consider making an SUV. Are they just trying to broaden the buyer's base, basically? Or?
Well, basically, they're just trying to make more money, mate. That's the answer for it. I mean, I spoke to one of the design chiefs at Ferrari at a motor show who said on the record that Ferrari would never manufacture an SUV while he was working there, and then 3 months later the boss said, we're working on an SUV, so he might be looking for a new job. But they're basically doing it because it makes money. I mean, with Maserati, with the Levante, in a country like Australia, something like 72% or 73% of their sales are SUVs. So it props up the business to the point that it allows them to then go and spend money developing sports cars. So, whether we like it or not, it's the way of the future. And the numbers for this car are pretty serious. And I'm not just talking about the price, because it's $180,000 for the S as tested here. But you're talking about a twin-turbo V6 that makes 321 kilowatts. It gets from 0 to 100 in 5.2 seconds, which supercars were doing not that long ago, and a top speed of 264 kilometres an hour. So for an SUV, it's pretty capable, that's for sure.
Because some people would say that Maserati, Trent, is an acronym for must also suggest extra rope and towing implements. That may have applied to the diesel model, but not this twin-turbo V6.
Sounds like the same guy who turned Fiat into fix it against Sony. Look, I think a lot of that's changed. I mean, I'm running around in a Fiat 500 at the moment, and there's plenty of them on the road, and they haven't had many issues. I think Maserati's design principles and engineering has come a long way. This vehicle looks pretty beautiful from the front and the side. It doesn't look too special from the back.
That's what they say about you, Trent.
Yeah.
Well, mate, I don't know that anybody's ever called me beautiful from any angle.
It's the 2018 Maserati Nicolich, yes.
Yeah, ugly, whichever way you look at it. I think that the problem with the styling of it is it doesn't look too special from the back. The back of it just looks a little bit nondescript, if you ask me. But everywhere else, it looks pretty good. It feels special inside the cabin. There's an optional interior on the luxury model that has Xenia silk inserts in the seat.
Is that right?
Wow. Which is pretty special. And look, buyers, we laugh and joke about it and talk about how silly it is, but buyers in these segments spending this kind of money, they want to feel special. Otherwise, you'd be buying a Toyota or a Honda or just some garden variety vehicle that'll get the job done but doesn't really feel special. So I think there's a lot to be said for that kind of luxury. What's most interesting about it to us is that it drives well, but the problem with these SUVs that claim to be sporty is realistically the Porsche Macan. I mean, it has set standards in how rapidly you can drive an SUV and how easily you can drive an SUV fast. And, you know, nothing else has really matched up to it. So the Levante in this guise, in the S guise, is quick and you can drive it quick, but it never really hides the fact that it's a big, heavy SUV.
You mentioned it does drive quick, 264 kilometres an hour, which is utterly irrelevant, as you know, on Sydney and Brisbane and Canberra roads.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Side question for you, what's the fastest you've ever driven, you behind the wheel?
On a motorway in Germany, I've hit about 325.
Good Lord.
Indicated on the speedo on an unrestricted part of German motorway. That was in a Porsche 911.
Who was chasing you at the time?
It looked like a German police car, but I'm not sure. And on a racetrack, I've done over 300 as well on a straight, about 305 or 306 because I ran out of road and I had to brake for a corner, which is always disappointing.
It's so Back to the Future, isn't it? Run out of road.
Yeah, I did make the corner at least, so
Good man.
that's one thing. But one of the problems with the top speed of these cars now, of any of these vehicles, is they're so stratospheric that you need a really, really long straight stretch of road to wind them out because otherwise you run out of road, as I'm saying, and you have to get on the brakes.
Yeah. All right, the 2018 Maserati Levante. Trent, your score out of 10?
8.3 out of 10 for this one, guys, 83%.
Yeah, not bad.
Reasonable.
Not
Yeah,
bad.
not bad.
Wouldn't make me fork out 200k,
No,
but
I don't think so. You can read the full review and much, much more via caradvice.com.au. Thank you, Trent. We'll chat to you next week for a bit of a year in review and 2018 preview chat.
Thanks, guys.
See you then. Trent Nikolic from caradvice.com.